Layla was a fearless journalist, known for her relentless pursuit of the truth in the darkest corners of the world. Her insatiable curiosity led her to stories others were too afraid to touch. One day, she received a letter wrapped in aged, crumbling parchment. The letter was unsigned, containing only a detailed map to a place called the Village of Shadows. Rumors surrounded this village. Over a century ago, its residents had vanished overnight, leaving behind whispers of curses and blood rituals. Scribbled across the map in crimson ink was a dire warning: do not enter, do not awaken what lies beneath. Despite the ominous message, Layla's instincts screamed for her to investigate. She enlisted her friend and photographer, Samer, to accompany her. Samer, known for his loyalty but wary of the supernatural, hesitated but ultimately agreed. Their journey took them through dense forests, paths cloaked in fog, and nights filled with unsettling animal cries. As they neared the village, Samer began experiencing vivid nightmares, people with hollow eyes whispering in a language older than time, and a giant, unblinking red eye staring at him. He dismissed it as nerves, but the shadows in his eyes told a different story. When Layla and Samer finally reached the village, they found it frozen in time. The streets were eerily quiet, houses boarded up with rusted chains, and the air was thick with decay. A chilling wind howled through the empty alleys, whispering secrets of long-lost souls. In the village's heart stood a towering, ancient church, its walls etched with symbols no living person could decipher. The duo entered, their footsteps echoing like a death knell. Within the church, they discovered a tattered manuscript on a stone altar. The text, written in an ancient dialect, detailed the story of Azarol, a malevolent deity once worshipped by the villagers. In their desperation to gain power, they conducted blood rituals, offering their children and kin as sacrifices. The manuscript spoke of a cursed eye, the source of Azarol's power, sealed away beneath the village but capable of being unleashed if specific conditions were met. The presence of two living souls in the sacred place during the midnight hour. As Layla read, the clock struck 12. The church doors slammed shut with a thunderous crash. Dust and centuries-old ash swirled, forming ghostly shapes. Figures with hollow eyes and decayed faces materialized from the shadows, whispering, shrieking, and moaning. Their translucent hands reached for Layla and Samer. "You should not be here," they hissed, their voices a symphony of agony. Panic surged through Layla as she grabbed Samer's hand, running through the shifting hallways of the church. Each door led to another twisted corridor or a chamber filled with ancient torture devices. Bloodstains adorned the floors, and the walls oozed black ichor. Samer, pale and trembling, began to hear voices in his head, the whispers of Azarol promising him freedom and power. He fought to resist, but felt the tendrils of madness wrapping around his mind. Desperation forced Layla to scan the manuscript for answers. It spoke of a dagger of light, the only weapon capable of severing Azarol's connection to the mortal realm. The dagger was hidden in a cave beneath the village, guarded by trials designed to break the human spirit. But to reach it, Layla and Samer first had to escape the church's malevolent grip. Their escape was fraught with terror. Hallways warped, ceilings caved in, and spectral hands clawed at their flesh. Layla's determination kept them moving. "We have to make it," she muttered. "There's no turning back." When they finally burst out of the church into the moonlit village square, the ground cracked and shifted beneath their feet, revealing a gaping chasm, the entrance to the cave. Inside the cave, the air was suffocating. Shadows danced on the walls, and the temperature dropped with each step they took. The trials began immediately. Layla found herself reliving her worst memories: the death of her parents, the betrayal of a trusted friend, and the crushing loneliness that had driven her ambition. She saw herself trapped in an infinite loop of failure, her screams echoing in the darkness. Seymour, meanwhile, was confronted by the ghost of his younger brother, accusing him of abandoning him. The apparitions became more corporeal, feeding off their fear. Despite the agony, Layla pressed on, reminding herself that survival meant defeating Azarol. In a chamber illuminated by a faint, ethereal glow, they found the dagger of light embedded in stone. As Layla grasped the hilt, the cave shook violently. The dagger's power surged through her, but it came with a price. Visions of Azarol's past victims and the horrors inflicted upon them flashed before her eyes. Before they could leave, Seymour turned on her, his eyes burning with a crimson glow. Azarol had infiltrated his mind, making him his puppet. "I won't let you destroy him," Seymour growled, his voice layered with Azarol's malice. The battle was brutal and heart-wrenching. Layla, torn between saving her friend and stopping the entity, fought with every ounce of strength. With a final, desperate move, she plunged the dagger into Seymour's chest. For a brief moment, his eyes cleared. "You have to finish this," he whispered before collapsing. Grief-stricken but resolute, Layla descended deeper into the cave's core, where Azarol's essence awaited. The entity, a mass of shadows and unblinking eyes, filled the chamber with oppressive energy. It spoke of despair, of humanity's endless cycle of greed and destruction. "Join me, and you will never be alone," it whispered, weaving illusions of peace and power. But Layla saw through the deceit. With the dagger burning in her hand, she charged at Azarol, cutting through tendrils of darkness that lashed at her flesh. In a final, desperate act, Layla plunged the dagger into the heart of the cursed eye. Azarol's screams pierced the air, shattering the cave walls. Light exploded, and Layla felt herself being torn apart, body, mind, and soul. When the dust settled, the village was silent once more. Layla lay motionless, her body broken, but her spirit unyielding. She had banished Azarol, but at great cost. Months later, a traveler stumbled upon a crumbling map in the ashes of the church, bearing the same blood-red warning: "Do not enter. Do not awaken what lies beneath." The cycle, it seemed, was far from over.